Hello, my beautiful Pisces. Welcome to your love reading for late March 2025. I hope you're doing well. Based on the pre-shuffle, I feel like you had high hopes on a connection. You thought that it had great potential. I've got the Empress here. So it could have been a new connection that you thought was developing. You might have been ghosted, some of you. But it's really playing on your mind. You've got the Eight of Swords, you've got the Nine of Swords. You're losing sleep over this, trying to find answers. Why did this person just give up on this connection? Nine of Wands in the reverse position. I feel like this person could have had options, or this person could just be interested in that early stages of a romance, you know, those passionate early days, and then when things start to get serious, they run. I definitely feel like some of you could have been ghosted with this Five of Pentacles. You were definitely left in the dark with the Moon and the Seven of Cups in the reverse. We have the Hanged Man in the reverse. So your mind is very, very consumed with what happened here. Why didn't this person want to take this connection forward? You're trying to find the answers. And it's keeping you stuck. You're not really able to entertain other potential connections, or you're not able to move on from this person because you're just consumed with what happened. We have the Five of Swords here. So you're left empty-handed. You're feeling quite defeated. You maybe were kind of waiting for a while to hear from this person with the Page of Cups in the reverse position, but they're not very good at expressing their feelings. I feel like they could have just ghosted to avoid any kind of discussion. And we have the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse. I feel like this is a reference to the other person. It's like they give you the impression that they're interested in, you know, a relationship, but really they're addicted to being single and just perpetually going from like almost relationship to almost relationship. They're addicted to the early stages. That's the strong impression that I'm getting from this person. Now, I'm drawn to the Divine Timing love deck to see what other further information we can glean. Angels and Spirit, please show me, what does Pisces need to see about this connection? Angels and Spirit, please show me, what does Pisces need to see about this connection? An option. They treated you as an option. So I feel like they could have ghosted you, but maybe gave you the impression that they'd be back. They left the door ajar because they didn't want to forfeit you altogether. They wanted to make sure that if they decide to come back, you would be amenable to, you know, starting again or giving them another chance. This card says not ready to commit, but they don't want to lose you either. They want to keep their options open. Exactly what I was picking up from the tarot. They're immature, and that's what I was getting with the Page of Cups in the reverse. Not able to express themselves or just be honest about what they're looking for. This card says the immature behavior prevents them from coming forward. They refuse to admit their feelings. We've got it's up to them. It says, you know, you were waiting on them to make a decision, them to commit. You left the ball in their court, and then they just could have disappeared or kept you hanging. Angels and Spirit, please show me, what does Pisces need to see about this person? What does Pisces need to see about this person? They leave things open-ended. That's what I'm getting from the Karmic Cycle card. It says that they must complete their karmic contract to clear negative karma. If they keep, you know, going from person to person, leading people down the garden path, giving them the impression that they are genuinely interested when they have no intention to develop anything beyond a superficial situationship, this person is actually going to accumulate negative karma because they leave all of these loose ends. Angels and Spirit, please show me, what does Pisces need to see about this connection? What does Pisces need to see? Devoid of light. They could be totally ignorant and unaware of the destruction that they leave. They could just be so self-absorbed in their own stuff that they didn't even consider your feelings, because this card says that they're not in a good place emotionally. You know that saying, hurt people, that comes to mind. They don't really think about the consequences of their actions because, you know, they're too consumed with their own unresolved past, their own unresolved feelings. That's what I'm getting, okay? Let's have a look at what they would say to you. I'm also going to do the Shadow Love Oracle. Angels and Spirit, please show me, what does Pisces need to see? I'm getting immaturity again. So you've got the late bloomer card and it says age gap or immature, attitude out of sync, needs more time. So this person just isn't as self-aware as you, as evolved as you, as emotionally intelligent, I guess. We've got many unexpressed emotions. I feel like that's where you are struggling to move on, because there's so many things that don't add up, that don't make sense. So there's that 8 of Swords and 9 of Swords energy. You can't get this connection out of your mind. How could you have got it so wrong? Because Pisces, you are so intuitive. So you're thinking, what the hell? Did I just imagine this in my mind? Because it felt pretty real at the time. It felt pretty mutual. This person was totally into me. It was quite passionate, and then they just up and left. That's what it feels like to me. There was a lot of passion and chemistry I'm getting with the volcano. Angels and Spirit, please show me. But they never gave you the opportunity to, you know, get to the bottom of this. Understand. Angels and Spirit, please show me, what does Pisces need to see when it comes to this connection? See how they're still, like, they're too absorbed in themselves and their own unresolved traumas and unresolved feelings. We've got being burned. They're afraid to love someone again. We've got unhealed trauma, runs away. And we've got gold digger. This is simply someone who was in it for what they could get from you. They wanted that initial spark, probably nothing much more than that. They're very self-serving is what I'm getting. Okay, yeah, conquest. You were just a notch in the belt. As tough as that is to accept, actions speak louder, okay? It wasn't really the real deal. And I'm getting a lot of ignorance around this person. It's not like they intended to hurt you, but that doesn't excuse their behavior. They keep causing destruction because they're failing to learn their lessons and grow from the past. So that's what I'm getting from the forgiving card. It says that they didn't mean to hurt you, but you're holding on to it, okay? So you need to forgive even if this person isn't sorry, because forgiveness is a gift that we give to ourselves. Okay, so let's see what this person would say to you. Angels and Spirit, please show me, what do they want to say to Pisces? They're so not in touch with their feelings. We've got, why do I feel this way? What do you see in me? And you deserve better. So I feel like this person was giving the bare minimum, but you were kind of looking at them with rose-colored glasses. I feel lonely. So this person's always looking for the next sugar hit. They're addicted to the initial stages of a connection. And that's how they fill the void. I don't understand. They don't understand their own feelings. They don't understand how they've impacted you. My life is a mess right now. And will you leave me like the others? This person is holding on to someone maybe from a long time ago, or it could even be childhood trauma, and they have to leave people before the other person can leave them. That's what I'm getting. Because of their deep-seated fear of abandonment, they go from early stage of attraction to early stage of attraction, and they just keep going on this merry-go-round because they're so scared of actually getting close to someone and then that relationship not working out. It's quite sad, really. So what you get is just a big, long line of superficial connections that never really had the chance to go beyond that. So I want to see what your guidance is. We're going to start with the Mystical Healing Oracle. What is the guidance for Pisces, please, Spirit, in late March 2025? What is the guidance for Pisces? Temper your criticism. Angels and Spirit, please show me, what does Pisces need to see? And relieve anxiety. So you're very much up in your head right now trying to reach for answers. While I can understand that, it's only going to keep you stuck. So go and find maybe a physical outlet to get back into your body and out of your head. But I'm not sure about this card. It feels like it's going to be really easy for you to judge this person, given that they were ignorant. They lacked consideration. They were thoughtless. They were reckless with your feelings. It's really easy to kind of judge people when they've done you wrong, they've let you down, but it's not going to enable you to forgive this person by judging them. So accept that they lack the emotional intelligence, they lack the maturity to come to you correctly, to treat you correctly. Next time around, you're going to identify those types of people before you catch feelings. This was a lesson, right? So temper your criticism. That's how I am interpreting it in your situation. But let me just see if there's any other message from the deck. So it's number 33. And it says, become discerning instead of critical. So exactly what I was saying. Reserve your judgment and instead use this experience as a lesson so you don't have to go through this again. When you're critical, you harden yourself and literally put energetic knives into others. You also block yourself from becoming a more refined, sensitive, and intuitive human being. Your healing pathways get blocked and your bones and muscles begin to degenerate. When you are harsh and critical with yourself, you lose your life force energy, your self-esteem, and you become depressed. Your ability to be flexible, think deeply, and receive new, higher wisdom is also limited. So start looking for what is good, holy, and beautiful in each person. Develop discernment while still encouraging yourself and others to grow. Try to see things from several angles in order to create more objectivity and gentleness in your counsel. Practice self-kindness. This card asks you to start to experience yourself, others, and the world from a more compassionate point of view, and look at every challenge as a possibility for growth. Okay. let's have a look at this deck. What is the guidance for Pisces, please, Spirit? All right, here we go. Okay, this goes back to that message that we just heard. Strong discipline of our mind is so important, and that includes disciplining it enough to not inflict any harm on others. So sometimes we're thinking ill of people and we're projecting negative energy onto them. And one of the most important laws of the universe is to not inflict harm, even in our thoughts. Commandments directing us to love even our enemies have huge meaning from a bioenergetic point of view. Remember, and even the card itself said that, by being overly critical towards people and judging them, it can create blockages within yourself. So remember that negative influence always returns back to the initiator. It's within your interests to forgive this person, no matter how hurt you feel. Okay? Yes, this is your message. When an opportunity passes you by, celebrate, because it's a chance to appreciate clarity in what isn't aligned with you. This person was never going to be on your page. They weren't at your level of maturity. So be grateful for the short moment of time that you shared with this person. See it for what it is. And realize that when something really is destined to enter your life, it must happen. So just visualize a new cycle, new people, new opportunities, so that you can be guided and led, supported and protected towards something more aligned. I do feel like this has caused a bit of a blockage for you because you've got a card here about illness. So if you are experiencing some funny symptoms right now, and it could be like a throat blockage, it says, we're used to seeing illness as a disaster and trying to get rid of it, but illness can signal that we're going in the wrong direction. When going through pain and suffering, a person has to realize the mistakes that they've made. So physical and spiritual suffering actually helps clear the subconscious. Suffering helps clear the subconscious, and a suffering person becomes more spiritual. So even though it's hard to be grateful when you're not feeling 100%, there's a higher purpose for what you're currently enduring right now on a physical and on a spiritual level. If you are feeling under the weather, if you're suffering, okay? So there's a need to find a higher perspective for what's just happened instead of frantically trying to reach for clarity and answers. What you're seeking will only come to you when you're in a state of surrender and aligned with your heart. So I feel like you were putting this person up on a pedestal, and it was a situation where you thought you knew everything that you needed to know, when in fact there were critical pieces of information missing. So there's your lesson. Next time around, maybe you want to get to know someone a little bit better or slow it down a little bit instead of getting caught up in the moment. So next time, maybe just operate with the intention of understanding someone and their values and what they're wanting to create in terms of a relationship. Just remain curious as you wait for the missing intelligence, which could come at any time and from anywhere. And there's a need to, slow it down and just be patient in getting to know someone. Honor the process of gestation and wait for circumstances to develop before deciding, you want to launch headlong into this connection. Okay. So Yeah, that's what I'm getting for you. So I'm going to just finish your reading with a message from the Crystal Spirit deck. Angels and Spirit, please show me what is the guidance for Pisces in love. What is the guidance for Pisces, please? Yeah, you got Adrian. Let's have a look at this message. It says, do you struggle with trusting others? You need to trust yourself first. Adrian is calling you to be confident, for you deserve to trust yourself, trust the universe, and be true to yourself. So I do feel like because of what's happened to you in this situation, it's causing you to doubt your intuition. But remember, it was just a lesson. You learned something valuable here. Your strength and integrity will inspire others to show up as strong and reliable too. So be impeccable with your words. Consistently assert the values that you hold dear and your right to be your unique self, for there can be no well-being when you're denying your truth. Be a beacon of integrity and you will draw to others who appreciate you. So let me know how that resonates with you, and I will see you again soon. Bye, Pisces.